many of you know, at the beginning of the month, I went to Nashville for an event. And the event was amazing. My time in Nashville was amazing. When I was in Nashville, I absolutely loved life. It was so good to be there. I talked about how it just felt super spacious, that there was music everywhere. The event that I was at, people were just vibing high. The energy and the consciousness was so, so great and so positive and so uplifting and so expansive. And I loved the Airbnb that I stayed at. It felt so good to go home every single night. And then I came home, and it became so clear for me what wasn't working here as I lived my life here. It became so incredibly clear what doesn't fit anymore, what doesn't feel good anymore, because I'd had this incredible experience and perspective by being away and then coming back to, whoa, this just doesn't fit anymore. This doesn't feel good anymore. And I was actually talking to Daniela, our digital producer, yesterday, and she came out with this incredible quote, which I was kind of hoping that Peter and Kelby would hear, but they walked out. And she said, as I was telling her all of this, she goes, yeah, there's nothing like tasting something nourishing and then coming back to realize that you're choking on gruel. Daniela, that one's for you. Thank you. Okay, a little melodramatic maybe. However, there's wisdom in that, right? Like, yeah, it was supposed to be kind of funny and whatever. But how often do we actually notice that something doesn't fit, that something isn't working, but we still continue to kind of choke it down, right? Because it's easier to do so. And so this made me think, or sort of brought me to what's been happening for me since I got back and over the last month. And so for some of you, I think all of you maybe know at this point that on the weekend, as I was going through this big weekend where I had a 9D breath journey that I facilitated in the morning, then there was the prayer class in the afternoon, then on Sunday there was Celebrate, and then there was going to be the VTC orientation class. And as I'm trying to start bringing in all of these things that I was doing on the side before the collision in June, it's like there's stuff that keeps coming up going, And so when I was trying to bring in the 9D journey, 9D transformational breathwork journey at the clinic where I do it once a month, last month I had to cancel it last minute because I just found that I wasn't ready, and our cat actually really helped me along with that by having to go to the hospital. And so then it was like, okay, I got to tend to her, and so I got to cancel 9D. And then I was super excited that I was going to be able to do it again going to be able to do it this month, the first one that I'd done, since the collision 7+ months ago. And then I got really sick. And that's why I wasn't here at Elevate last weekend. And can we just give it up for my lovely husband, Glenn, who did such a good talk last week, and just really, with less than 24 hours notice, he's wanted to do a talk for a while, but just stepped up from behind the tech table in front of the camera and delivered a really, really beautiful talk and some real nuggets of wisdom. Anyway, and so because I was feeling super sick on Wednesday, I'm like, there's no way that I can do 9D on Thursday, so I had to cancel it again for the second month in a row. But I'm like, that's okay, because I have 9D at VTC on Saturday morning, and by Saturday, I'm going to be feeling fine, okay? I am determined. And so 8 people gathered in a circle here. There's 2 of them present right here. And we're just about to go into the journey. I'm just about to say, see you on the other side, which is what I do every time before everybody puts on their headphones. And then I go flying off this stage, twisting my ankle, falling on the left side of my body, not quite remembering what happened. Everybody gathering. Liz is there with the arnica. Wyatt comes out with the ice. Sherry's putting her hands on my ankle because it's swelling in front of our eyes, and she's doing her companion prayer to, help me out. And everybody rallied for about 5 minutes, and it was, really lovely. And then it was like, okay, let's, I'm here for you. We're here for the breathwork journey. Let's do the breathwork journey. And so we did it. And then we did the prayer class as I was in a lot of pain and discomfort and whatever. But it was also a really neat teachable moment to show how what we focus on expands, to show how we are consciously or unconsciously directing our energy, and with 2 people here who were in the prayer class, then you know that I was sitting here with my leg up, but I was very consciously trying to impart on everyone that no matter what is going on, even in our body, that we are not our pain, we are not our dis-ease, we are not our thoughts, we are not our feelings, we are not even the experience that we're having, or the thoughts that we're having about the experience that we're having, that we are the energy, we are the power, we are the creativity, we are that wholeness, allness, and wellness of being itself. That's who and what we are. And as we focus our attention on that, then we can only experience more of that in form. And so that has been my intention and sort of the conscious directing of energy since then. And sometimes it's easier and sometimes it's not. And so when I was here in class and using this incredible teachable moment, then I felt a lot better. By the time we got home, it was like, But anyway, so there was also, people were like, well, what do you need to learn? What's the lesson that you need to learn here? What's your body trying to tell you? And so on Sunday, I ended up doing a talk because Sunday morning is when the massive insight came. And it was like, whoa, this is one of the best talk titles ever. And it was, where are you falling short? And so for me, on the heels of coming back from Nashville and seeing all of these different aspects of my life where things don't quite fit anymore, or even like it's blatantly obvious it's been like that for a while, but I haven't done anything about it, how many times is life going to offer me a lesson until I pay attention, learn that lesson, listen, and do something different? And so this takes me to the quote that we had in meditation by Courtney C. Stevens. And it's something that I've heard before, but I had to look up online who it's attributed to. And Courtney C. Stevens, I don't really know anything about her. She's an author that wrote a book called The Lies About Truth, which is where this quote comes from. She has been an adjunct professor, a youth minister, was an Olympic torchbearer. And then I'm like, oh my God. And she's a bookseller at Parnassus Books in Nashville. Anyway, so the quote is, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. Right? Does that make sense? Does anybody here have experience with this? Right? Nobody? Okay, thank you for your honesty and candor. Yeah, so why do we do it? Right? Like, why, when we know better, when we know that we are always choosing, we're always a choice, we can make a different choice anytime, why on earth would we keep putting up with stuff that is making us sick, that is making us feel tired, that is making us feel overwhelmed, whatever? Well, because it's familiar. It's easier, right? And for the psyche, for the ego, that is keeping us safe. Okay, because, oh my gosh, if we venture into unknown territory, if we try something different, a different thought, a different feeling, a different belief, if we try to have a different experience, that is unknown. That is totally new. And for our ego, for our psyche, that is a threat. And so the psyche, the ego, the mind is going to do whatever it can to keep us within that comfort zone, even if it feels incredibly uncomfortable because we're navigating pain and overwhelm and anxiety and like, oh my God, why does this keep happening? And so this, if nothing changes, nothing changes, kept coming up again and again and again today. So the title of my talk is, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And when I was looking for a photo, I don't even know what I was looking for, but when this one came up, I'm like, haha, I really like this one, because not only is it pointing, change that way, but when you take a look at it, what has to happen in order for this person in the shoes to experience change? They need to take a step, right? They need to take action. They need to step into action. Otherwise, they're just going to keep standing exactly where they are, and they're not going to experience that change that's waiting and ready for them to experience, right? So, with this, flying off the stage, and with, this other lesson of like, pay attention and start making, changes in your life, I thought Sunday morning, I'm going to try something new. And part of it was out of necessity because I knew that I was going to be moving slower because my foot hurt and this whole side hurt and things were stiffer and bruised and swollen and all that kind of stuff. But I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to take care of myself first on Sunday. And instead of scrambling to get ready for Celebrate, and then most of the time it's my fault that we are flying out the door just a few minutes late with me barely having put, the clothes on that I want to put on because I didn't have time to think about it. And I thought, I'm going to do me first. And I'm going to take a shower, and it's going to take as long as it's going to take, and if I have to hobble around or whatever, doesn't matter. So I did my morning meditation and mindfulness practice, all the things, just over an hour, and then I got up, I made some tea, and then I went and I had a shower, and I had a really long shower. It wasn't just it was shave legs, it was moisturize afterwards, it was all of it, right? And then I wasn't even looking at the time. I'm just I'm taking care of me. I am nourishing myself. I'm making sure that I'm doing everything slowly so that I don't fall again or whatever. I'm what am I going to wear? I want to be comfortable. My foot is huge. I'm going to wear slippers because that's going to be comfortable for me. I got to put something on that I can, put on. And then I got to put on pants that I can actually take off easily because it was really hurting to try and pull my jeans off the other day. I did all of that, and then I'm and I'm going to have breakfast. I'm going to have a leisurely breakfast, which I totally did. And I think I didn't sit down to my desk until 10 after 6 or something. And for us to be here on time, which for us is 9 o'clock on Sunday morning, we need to leave by 8:30, okay? Normally, that's not a lot of time for me to prepare and open up to the talk that wants to be shared, finish off the slides, get the order of service done, and get all the notes and everything, and then pack up and actually go. But I'm this is the time I have. This is the time that it's going to take me to do it. This is the first time since I started here that not only did I finish early, I was packed up and ready to go and dressed and everything by 10 after 8. We left early. We arrived early. There were 0 tech problems for the first time ever. And then we actually had an opportunity to just sit here and relax for about 25 minutes before people started coming for Celebrate, for meditation. It was wild. I don't know why I'm so astounded and dumbfounded because I'm standing here on stage twice a week talking about this kind of stuff and how we create our life experience, right? But this was so incredibly different, and it was all because I decided to change the routine and to put myself first rather than the work, and just totally put myself, on the back burner. So that is my invitation for us all, is whenever we might start thinking that, but I have all this work to do, I have these projects, I have all of this stuff, oh my gosh, let's try taking care of ourselves first, because when we do that, guess what happens? We're more in alignment with the wholeness of our being, right? And then we get taken care of by universe. We get taken care of by the love that we are. All of a sudden, the talk that, I was opening up to just spilled itself out in minutes. The photo that I wanted to find just appeared. Sometimes I can spend half an hour looking for the right photo. And it was just oh, yeah, this will work. And it felt so good. And it was oh my God, and now I can sit here and I can relax for 25 minutes because it's all done, which was actually very welcome because of the way that my body was feeling. So the quote that she has out of that book is, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. You want change? Make some. And the way that you make change is exactly by what John offered, exactly what this picture is offering. You have to step into action. You have to do something different. You have to think something different. You have to start entertaining some different beliefs. You got to start telling some different stories. Because as you start to do all of those things, then you start to have a different experience. Even if circumstances don't change, I had the same amount of time from when I woke up at 4 a.m. on Sunday to when we have to leave at 8:30 as I do all the other Sundays that I've woken up at 4 a.m. and am like scrambling at 8:35, knowing that I'm the one who's making us late because I'm not ready. But I made a change that completely transformed my experience and then transformed our experience here once we arrived here. So in the end, in order to experience change, you must step into action. Do, think, feel, try something different, and your experience of life will transform. Thank you, and so it is.